At a recent evening function where Raila Odinga met his campaign team, the Azimio campaign team, yeah, lakini sikuwasomea. Yeah, at that function there were some very interesting guests, including a man, wait for this one, called David Murathe. You know, many people have been asking, where did David Murathe go? Well, he was there. But my show today is not focused on Bwana Murathe, as controversial as the man has always been, and as much as Kenyans are curious. It focuses on recent decisions Raila has taken. Yeah, very controversial decisions, very unexpected decision. Yeah, but he says it's all for a better Kenya. Karibu sana to my show today, where I talk about that in detail and analyze it, as well as the political implications going forward. But I also have a super treat for you, my dear fans, on this particular show. Stay with me until the very end, where I'm going to present it. Okay? It is one of those very strange things that happen in our dear country that you will look at and say, no, this could not have happened. But it has happened. Yeah, something for you to look forward to, even after this very informative and entertaining show. Now I also need to remind you about my weekly intelligence briefings. The latest one, number 88, bado iko jikoni, but it's going to be out soon. But I suggest that you take out a subscription right away. You can see details on the screens right now. And you take advantage of the current special offer, so that by the time the next one comes out, you'll already be inside. Yeah, and you'll avoid the higher subscription price. Now, of course, if you subscribe immediately, you'll also receive number 87, which has a lot of information of what happened and what has been happening in Kenya in recent days, especially the Chief Justice Martha Koome manenos. Yeah, that is super fascinating. Don't miss that WAB for anything. Number 87. Yeah. Even as you wait for number 88. Right, let's get this show on the road. Twende kazi. Kenyans who know Raila Odinga and the way he operates have been very surprised, very confused, because after what happened in our recent general elections, and especially the presidential elections, people expected Raila to organize a resist movement, just like in 2017. Indeed, on the ground, several times I came across Azimio supporters and they were asking me, Chris, Raila anapangaje? Sisi tunangoja, tuko tayari. Kama ni kumarch mpaka Supreme Court, tuko tayari. Chris, tuambie bwana, wewe unajuanga hii maneno mapema. Tuambie, Raila anapanga nini? That has been the feeling right across the country. And people have waited and waited. Nothing. But at a recent low-key function to celebrate the Azimio campaign team, yeah, at a very sumptuous dinner, Raila dropped the bombshell. he said he has decided to tuliza boli. Raila told his shocked audience that he has decided not to fight the electoral fraud witnessed in our recent elections, cemented by a Supreme Court decision that took Kenyans completely by surprise. Blindsided Kenyans. Yeah, indeed, many Kenyans are yet to recover. Raila said that he has decided to take a non-confrontational approach, to dealing with what happened in our recent elections. That means no economic boycott of certain products and services like in 2017, no demonstrations, maandamano, which put a lot of Kenyans at great risk when they confronted security organs. Raila told us he never makes decisions without a background of information. That's him. And this is the decision he has made. Yet another shocker for most Kenyans, and especially Azimio supporters, who are still desperately looking for something ya kupoesha roho. So what is this information that Raila used to make this decision? Raila told us that his decision was informed by what happened in a country called Cote d'Ivoire, it used to be called Ivory Coast, in the year 2010, where the circumstances were very similar to what we have witnessed in Kenya during our recent elections. Incumbent President Laurent Gbagbo lost that election. And indeed everybody agreed he had lost. Foreign observers, the UN, etc., etc. And when the chairman of the electoral body stood up to announce the election results, where Gbagbo had lost, his colleague in the electoral body stood up in full view of cameras, including cameras from the international press, etc., etc. He stood up, walked where the chairman was, and tore the sheet of paper he was using to announce the result into shreds. And then a scuffle ensued. What? Later, from a secret location, it was announced that Gbagbo had actually won the election. And in the tensions that followed in that country, what ended up happening is that Cote d'Ivoire ended up with two presidents, two sitting presidents at the same time. Gbagbo and the man who had actually won those elections, Alassane Ouattara. I think the idea here was to form a kind of grand coalition government, where both two candidates would be in government. But it didn't work out. It didn't work out the way it worked out in Kenya. Instead, civil war broke out, where thousands of citizens lost their lives because of an election. And guess who the African Union picked to go and sort out that mess? Raila Odinga. And so he landed on the ground to witness firsthand what had happened to that country. And so this is the information Raila used to come to his current decision. Non-confrontational. Allow President William Ruto to rule. Despite everything that happened, a lot of it information that is in the public domain, Kenyans on the ground know what happened. Now, very interesting, at that function, Raila praised his campaign team for a job well done. Because according to Raila, Azimio won by over 60% of the vote. An emphatic victory. Yeah. Now, regulars on this channel will remember that my estimates before the general elections are not very far off that figure. And indeed the estimates of many other analysts that I respect. Okay? Because nowadays we have analysts and we have analysts. There's a difference. Yeah. In my opinion, you can't just be born yesterday. Yeah. You finished school just the other day and then you're a leading political analyst. You have no idea about Kenyan history and you're not interested, but you're a leading political analyst. Yeah. So, political analysts in Kenya that I respect. Under the same function, Raila Odinga heaped praise on his campaign team. He congratulated them for achieving all the objectives they aimed for. They succeeded in painting the country blue, okay, despite all the criticism that was leveled against them. Despite all this blame game, all these people let Raila down, Raila lost because of these people, all the handlers of Raila messed up, all the Azimio campaign team this and that. No. Raila said they did an excellent job. And he treated them to a sumptuous dinner to say thank you. So, what next? Raila made it very clear that Azimio will continue fighting for a better Kenya. And top on the agenda is reforms at the judiciary, so that what has recently happened in Kenya, the Supreme Court, will not be repeated in future elections. Also top on the agenda of Azimio is reforms on our electoral architecture, so that in future nobody else will ever play the same games that were played in the 2022 presidential elections. Let me just leave it at that. Now I can hear some very disappointed Azimio supporters saying, Chris, does this mean Raila has given up? That is the impression I'm getting. My answer, no, definitely not. Other speakers at this dinner made this point crystal clear. Yeah, the fight continues. In fact, it takes on a new urgent pace. Martha Karua, Raila Odinga's running mate, Kilonzo Musyoka, both read from the same script. It is not over. Far from it. Let me put it this way. Azimio are going to use constitutional means, legal means, to bring justice over this situation. They're going to do everything in their power while avoiding the situation where the lives of ordinary Kenyans, Azimio supporters, are put at risk in demonstrations and things like that. You know, in all these emotions people were having over the injustice against Raila Odinga, yet again, having a presidential election stolen from him, in broad daylight, yet again. Amid all that, we all missed a very important positive point. Very important. And it is something we should never take lightly. And that is, despite everything that happened, we had a peaceful transition to a new administration. That is a very huge thing. Indeed, I'm told, in the real estate industry, they are feeling the positive effects of that. Yeah, people are buying property like crazy. Yeah. Investors, who are usually very edgy, very nervous, are showing us clearly that they are confident of a future stable Kenya. You know, many Kenyans don't realize that the way we are currently, financially, our economy would not have been able to take another 2017 resist session. No way. Our economy would just have collapsed. Things would have been very serious for all of us. Yeah, I know times are very hard. Money is difficult. But imagine a situation where times are hard and also you're scared for your life. That would have been unbearable. We avoided all that by a whisker. Thanks to the wisdom of Azimio. Thanks to the legendary politician, patriot, Raila Odinga. You know, contrary to what many young Kenyans think, it is good to be old and wise. Yeah, we look down on old people. We say they should go back to Bondo, they should retire, etc., etc. We should give them jobs on the fringes, away from our local politics, away from what is really happening on the ground. We say all those things without thinking. There is an African saying, mahali wazee wako, hakuna kitu inaweza kuharibika. Where you have old men, everything is okay. And in my opinion, Kenyans have to thank once again a man called Raila Odinga. Because put yourself in his situation. Put yourself in his shoes. So many presidential elections which you have won, stolen from you. And after all that, what would your frame of mind be? What decisions would you take if you are Raila? Yeah, let's be honest. But instead, Raila has remained focused on the good, on the benefit to the ordinary Kenyan. Not his own personal ambition, not his own desire to be the occupant of State House. No. He has focused on the people and what is best for the people of Kenya. In my opinion, Kenya does not deserve Raila Odinga. We don't. Because most of us don't even realize what this man has done and what he continues to do for our country, Kenya. But having said all that, I'm still worried. Why? I'm worried because of what is happening in the hearts of a vast majority of Kenyans. Yeah, the 60% plus who voted for Azimio with all their hearts. And I'm praying that the wisdom of Raila spreads to all of them so that they understand the situation we are in as a country. Yeah, we need to focus on the future. We need to correct what went wrong. And we need to continue fighting for a better Kenya, using constitutional legal means and nothing else. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.